Hello! Welcome, everybody. I'm glad you all could make it. Welcome to my TED Talk. No. That's for boring stuff. Tonight, we talk about awesome stuff. Because you're awesome, I'm awesome, we're all awesome. It's almost like everything is awesome. Welcome to the Wayward Inquisition. I am Chamberlain Jonas here once again for another thrilling World Building Plus. The main objective of this stream is really to be a assistant to you, dear viewer. So comment in if you are working on a character and you're stumped, if you're making a pantheon, let me know. Maybe we can hash something out. But tonight, I was actually having dinner at Cracker Barrel when I got the idea of what to discuss tonight. Originally, I was just kind of focused on Warforges, but why just talk about one thing? That's lame. That's like a no good thing. Oh, sorry. Bear with me. I'm getting my tunes on. Gotta have background music. For me, of course. You all aren't special enough. Maybe one day when we're fancier and have more time to do stuff. But in the interim, I'm gonna rock out the skillet because they're sick, dope, nasty. And just a really good band. Anywho, I digress, which, if you are familiar with our channel, it's what we do. So, let me pull up. Ooh, how do I want to do these? Brilliant brain. We will open up a little tab over here. Do a little beep boop bopping. So I'm definitely going to start with Warforges since they were the ones that came to mind whenever I was minding stuff. Oh, this will work nicely. I can still see the chat, so if anyone chimes in. So for starters, let's read what Wizard of the Coast has for Warforges. Which, one, is a pretty dope name. Just gotta get that out there. Okay, here we go. The Warforged were built to fight in the last war, while the first Warforged were mindless automatons. House Cannith devoted vast resources to improving these steel soldiers. An unexpected breakthrough produced sapient soldiers, giving rise to what some have only grudgingly accepted as a new species. It is a little difficult to do that voice, but not really. It's more just weather. I don't know where you all live, but the weather it's getting better. It's getting warmer, which is nice. But yeah, stuffs are a bloomin' already. Anyways, I digress. Warforged are made from wood and metal, but they can feel pain and emotions. Built as weapons, they must now find a purpose beyond war. A Warforged can be a steadfast ally, a cold-hearted killer, or a visionary in search of meaning. So, not... this is really going to set Courtney off and get her hyped and excited or confused or something. Anywho, um, I don't know if you all got that vibe, but in a way, the Warforged feel like the clone troopers, you know? They were made for a very specific purpose, and then now they have access to more than what they were made for. I do like that it mentioned wood because a lot of the times people use warforges as just very metallic metal people, which is fine. Oh goodness, sorry. Let's see. Any other doohickeys in here I should be aware of? Oh yeah, it's just talking about how they're made, kind of like how they function and work, blah blah blah. So yeah, the kind of the default image of the Warforged that they have, it's very metallic. That is very much a robot soldier man. That one has a little wood to it, but even I don't even know if that's wood though. But having a wood Warforged is actually pretty cool. You could do actually you could do quite a bit with that if you were playing like a druid character. You could have your person be a wooden Warforged, and like maybe they were constructed by another druid, or and yeah, you wouldn't even have to be a druid. You could be a Warforged fighter, and this druid made you to help defend the grove or something. And this is one thing. It's what I was thinking about with Warforges is they can have a pretty dynamic range of looks. I would even say they could be beyond wood and metal. Maybe it's they made them partially out of stone. Or, what else could you use? Yeah, you could be like a crystal glass Warforged. That'd be pretty crazy. Maybe it was reinforced so he wouldn't shatter as easily. And then with Warforges also, not only can you get a good variety of how they look based on the materials they're made out of, but even the level of what they are made. You get what I'm saying? So like you could have a Warforged and it could be C3PO from episode 1, It has no outer shell. You see all the internal components. You could throw a rock at this thing and it would break something internally and it would fall over and die. Or you could have the very super sci-fi, super sleek and slender, shiny Warforges that are, they're very elegant and they talk in such a soft way. So what can we do with Warforges? They have mostly, in the campaigns I've been in, they have mostly been used as robot people. Now, how do they function? In some ways, you could have them be manufactured, that they are just a product, coming off of a line. You could have it where maybe that's how the Warforge started. And then, like it said, maybe they gain sentience. Maybe even they started off as just plain robots. Somebody broke one down and added runes or something onto the inside and put a soul inside it. And then that is what drives the Warforged. In my Life Will campaign, I have a Warforged player, and he has his Goliath brain inside of the head of his Warforged body. So you can always add in, more physical components to Warforges, make them more hybrid man-machine. Maybe in order to get them to work, the government started like digging up dead bodies and placing the brains and hearts inside of these machines to get them to function properly. It could be, it could be that they're made. I like to think that if there's magic in the world, just the presence of magic would change and alter things. That's why, if you're adventuring, that's why you find a giant toad that's like, 2 stories tall and that can spit marshmallows. Because, just the magic mutated it in a weird way. So it could be that Warforges weren't made, they just existed. And, then how do they reproduce? Can they? In Life Will, I have it that they can reproduce. Usually they pair up like a husband-wife scenario, and they will take turns, like opening up their chest compartment or something. They take a block of materials, shove it in there, and then over like 8 years, it kind of, works its way into the shape of a little Warforged baby, and then it starts to grow up. You could have Warforges not be from your world in 2 different ways, I will say. You could have it be that maybe that the world of your campaign, your setting, is in, kind of the future, or even, you could really pick any time period for it to be in. But the thing is, there was an ancient civilization that had the Warforges, and so they're like remnants living in the world. So, no one really knows how they work or, where they came from. They just know that they were part of this thing. Wow, that was rude, YouTube. How am I supposed to see the comments if you kick me out? Oh my goodness. And then the other way of this is you could have the Warforges be from outer space. There we go. I can see chat again. Maybe they came from just a random crash, or maybe they were sent to the planet to, investigate, scout, prepare the way for the main forces, or just to see what's there and then to report back. And with Warforges, because I like doing voices with my characters, it's definitely not required when you play a TTRPG. It really helps me get into the character to do a voice, even if I recycle voices. I am not a professional. I wouldn't even say I am an unprofessional. I am just a dude. a dude that likes to play D&D. But with Warforges, you could have them, like, I like the idea of them being very mechanical. So it's like, yes, welcome to Megaton, the greatest town around. Or, maybe however they came to be, they have just more personality to it. They gave the Kenku the ability to like mimic people's speech and whatnot, but you could totally give that to your Warforged. I mean, they're basically a walking computer, so they could store that data and, adapt it. You could have your players like roll something for it. What would I put that under? Maybe, oh yeah, performance, because you would be mimicking that person's speech, and even though you are kind of relaying it, since you're twisting it to whatever you heard to say whatever you needed to say, you know what I'm saying? Sorry, Skillet rocks. If you haven't listened to Skillet's Valley of Death song, it's so good, man. So good. So good. Let's see. What else with Warforges? Oh yeah, I don't think I finished that thought process. That happens a lot on here, actually. So I'm always torn on this, because on one hand I like it when the Warforges are like that really sleek, like futuristic robot. But I would say the majority of the time I like them to be more clunky, more, I'm gonna say steampunk, where, with steampunk you can kind of see the gears in everything. Do I like them being a race? Ooh, that's a spicy question. Of course it depends on the setting and everything. But overall, I would say that, Warforges would be not like so much a bad guy NPC race, but they're built for war. They would be the security force of whatever. And of course, a player can play as one, and they are the exception to the rule. That's just how it works. Actually, yeah, I might need to rework that for Life Will. Life Will is my, I guess, passion project, you could say. I started it a couple of years ago with some guys, and I made the world and everything. And recently, I have started to revise it, basically make a 2.0, 3.0 version. If you don't world build, I highly recommend it. It's such a fun pastime. If you're at work, just thinking about like, okay, what races live here? Okay, let's start with 4. Okay, these guys, and these guys. Who's in charge? There's typically, I would say, there's kind of one dominant species. It's generally humans, as it should be, because we're the best. Yeah. I am very pro humanity. But yeah, if you just, mull around and just pick, of course, if you make multiple worlds, go for it. but have one that's like it is your baby. You are forever changing it, updating it, growing it. Anything else about Warforges? Um, yeah, I don't really see them as a race. I don't, like Detroit Human, Fallout 4. Was there something else? Anywho, any story that involves like, see, robots are people too. Bro, they ain't. They robots. So that's my take on synths, warforges, robots, cyborgs. They are machines. They ain't people. But that's just me. Hmm. Yeah, hopefully there was some nugget in there that you were able to take and maybe sparked something about Warforges in your campaign, or even a book that you're writing, maybe, and they don't have to be called Warforges, of course. But we are a D&D channel, so that's kind of what we focus on. All right. Now let's just head up to the top of the list. Aarakocra. So Aarakocra are kind of eagle hawk people. Are Owlin? How do their wings work? Okay, they're separate appendages. Maybe it's the Kinku that I'm thinking of. Because, yeah, they don't really have wings. So the Aarakocra, they have separate wing appendages besides their arms. But, depending on the game and some of the other races, because I think Kinku are typically their wing is their arm. Let's see. Aarakocra. Wonder how they came up with that name. It's pretty unique, especially in its spelling. Sequestered in high mountains atop tall trees, the Aarakocra. Ooh, there was weather. Sometimes called birdfolk, evoke fear and wonder. Many Aarakocra aren't even native to the material plane. They hail from a world beyond from the boundless vistas of the elemental plane of air. They are immigrants, refugees, scouts, and explorers. Their outposts functioning as footholds in a world both strange and alien. Huh, I did not know that about Aarakocra. I figured they would be Fae-ish in a way. But no, they come from the elemental plane of air. Well, I'll be. Let's see, anything else in there? Anything pertinent? They look like large birds. Yeah. Standing upright. Feathers, plumage. Males are brightly colored with feathers of red, orange, or yellow. Females have more subdued colors, usually brown or gray. Oh, it's kind of lame. But that's nature, I guess. Let's see. Nowhere are the Aarakocra more comfortable than the sky. Well, no way. You mean the Birdman likes to be in the air? Oh my goodness. All right. Wow, they wrote a lot about the Aarakocra, and it's all not useful to me. Yeah, I am really partial to bestial races. To what's the word? Anthropomorphic? Is that it? That sounds right. I'm gonna say it's right. So if I'm wrong, just tell me I'm right. But yeah, I don't truly know what sparked it, what ingrained it into me. I mean, it's probably because of the Red Wall series. I read those books. Really, I only read like two, but it was about medieval animal warfare. It was cool. It was awesome. Lord Brocktree was a badger. He had a great sword. Dude, I'm in. So yeah, any kind of bestial race, it just has a soft spot to me. And also they're not really used a lot, I would say. Yeah, the Aarakocra, how does he look? They definitely how they have them, they kind of look kind of a cleaned up kind of tribalness to them. I think it even said something about tribal in there somewhere, but how? Oh yeah, and yeah, they only live like 30 years. So like right now, if I changed into an Aarakocra, I would die. Like I'm well past the Aarakocra expiration date. And well, actually, yeah, I don't think it even mentions age for the Warforges because I mean they're robots. I wouldn't think that they would live forever. No. Eventually, everything's going to break down. And, even if they replace parts, just how the internal stuff functions, I would say it would have a limit. Of course, it would be the Warforged would probably be on par with elves, honestly. But man, poor Aarakocra, they get 30 years. I think they become adults at age 3. So, they age faster. They get to life a lot faster than the other races. But still, man, that's and the weird thing with that too is I always wonder like if they age, they mature at age 3, which for us humans is insane. But it's like, even though they matured physically to that age, at age 3, wouldn't they still like have the brain of a baby, essentially? Uh, but I guess with the rapid, maybe Aarakocra just obtain knowledge a lot faster than anyone else. That's actually a pretty good reasoning that because of their kind of rapid aging, their brains are able to process and withhold knowledge a lot better. Aarakocra, what kind of twist, what kind of concept can I throw onto you? Because, I mean, Warforges, as I said, you could have them be made from souls, made from flesh. They could come from outer space. I would say the Aarakocra, you could also come from the Fae. That would make sense. If you didn't want to use the elemental plane of air, which I don't use the elemental planes in my campaigns. I understand their purpose in the lore of D&D and all that, but it doesn't do anything for me. Aarakocra. Your bird people come from the Fae. Well, they could also be maybe maybe in your story, elder mage, was just they were very powerful and they were always tinkering with magics and experimenting with things, and maybe they made the Aarakocra by, they channeled a lot of magic into a bird, like a hawk or something, and then it started to very horror movie scene transformation. Practical effects, of course. How do you procreate, Mr. Aarakocra? Do you all lay eggs? I would say they do. Probably. Because, usually whenever birds lay eggs, it's usually like 3 or something at a time. I would say you could probably lay 2 tops. Well, they do start off a lot smaller and they do grow. 3 just seems like it's pushing it, though, especially for such a big bird. But yeah, I'll say they probably lay eggs. We'll say mostly 2. Every now and then, maybe there's the weird happenstance that they have 3. Oh, I didn't even think about that with Warforges. But yeah, with Warforges, I kind of like the idea that they can't use magic because they are autonomous. But, depending on how you have their creation go, how they work, they could use magic, essentially. Because, yeah, maybe that's what their core is. Maybe it's some kind of mana crystal in there, and so they can kind of pull from that, essentially pulling from their own life force, which is actually kind of cool. Hey, that's pretty neat. But yeah, Aarakocra, I can see them being magic users. I would say it's probably rarer to see a race and be like, oh yeah, that thing can't use magic. Well, actually, yeah. Maybe Aarakocra can't use magic. Because they have such a short lifespan, they could try to learn it, but with how, just how they are, they don't have the time. They don't have the time to learn. It could be, depending on the magic type, sorcerers and innate, so you don't really have to learn sorcery. Yeah, but I could see them using magic. Very, probably a really shamanistic style, too. Let's see. Anything else about you, Aarakocra? Anything? So, what I did with Aarakocra is, of course, players are always the exception, but all the Aarakocra in Life Will, they're surfer dudes. Anytime they meet one, they're like, "Hey, man, you ready to surf the sky? Groovy. Let's do it, dude." Yeah, that's all the Aarakocra, and I love it. And that's one thing with races when you're assigning them into your world. Pick a real life language, culture, and throw it on there. I've seen some YouTubers say not to do that, but I don't know why. Like why not? Do you know how hard it is to create a new culture, let alone a new language? Tolkien, you crazy madman. But we love that crazy madman. We really do. Well, yeah, I'm just gonna go alphabetical here because why not? One, if I do this again, I'll be able to pick up where I left off a lot easier. I bounced a little bit going from Warforged, but of course they had to be first because that was the one that I was thinking of. So up next is the ASMR. A pretty darn cool race, I gotta say. Now there's kind of multiple versions of ASMR, but let's just go with this base one right here. ASMR bear within their souls the light of the heavens. They are descended from humans with a touch of the power of Mount Celestia, the divine realm of many lawful good deities. Asamar are born to serve as champions of the gods. Their births hailed as blessed events. They are a people of otherworldly visages, with luminous features that reveal their celestial heritage. Now, they say, one, that. Well, actually, never mind about that one. Scratch that note. Get out of here. You're garbage now. Junk folder. But I do want to come back to how it says that they are descended from humans. So, and yes, a lot of the images I have seen have been human ASMR. But I mean, with how they are being celestial beings, or half celestial, or however you want to look at it, maybe they're a Harangon, an ASMR Harangon, an angelic rabbit person. Maybe they're a angelic orc. That'd be an interesting one. And of course, with ASMR having that celestial heritage, man, you got such background stuff you can work with right there. Depending on the lineage, maybe the player or just the people look a certain way. Maybe if you're using like an Egyptian style pantheon, maybe all the ASMR have that more, kind of golden brown skin color, or or if they are descendant of Norse, maybe they're big and brutish and hairy. Those Vikings. Come on, guys. Get a haircut. Yeah, because like in the stock image, it has like the base ASMR has like purple skin, which is interesting. Man, they kind of wrote a lot about them too. I don't want to read through all of that. Ain't nobody got time for that. But yeah, I do like the idea of them being champions of the gods in a way. Because, like, maybe your player, that can be a route that you give them of as they're going through the story. Maybe periodically you're like, oh, hey, you're near one of the dens of the Titans. You must prove your worth to the gods. Enter in the lair, find the Titan, and destroy its heart. Tea. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm going to quickly read through some of this other stuff. If you haven't heard of 5e Tools, it is a phenomenal website. The only downside is, it's kind of the downside to D&D in general, is on one hand, it's nice. They update it with more content over the years. And as you can imagine, they keep adding stuff and removing stuff. So it gets a little crazy sometimes of, oh, well, where'd that class go? These dreams. Oh, they can get dreams and visions from their celestial, bloodline. Yeah, nothing too pertinent in there, other than that, it says they like to kind of hide their divine features so that, people bad people won't kind of ambush them because, you see a angelic holy warrior walking in the town and you're a scumbag. Yeah, you should be concerned. And so you'd probably go get your buddies and be like, hey, we need to take this guy out before he takes us out. I don't know why they sound like that, but apparently they do. ASMR, what else can we do with you? I mean, of course you can do so much with the Pantheon itself, the bloodline of what deity they come from. I would even say it wouldn't even have to be a god. What if the bloodline stems from something kind of a more natural spirit of the world sort of thing? Maybe they have the blood of the wolf goddess who roams the forest and attacks Ashitaka and Irontown. Man, I love that movie. If you have not seen Princess Mononoke, buddy, it's so good. It's so good. I watch it yearly because it's just, the animation is just so beautiful. Oh my gosh. I love that movie. Have I watched it this year yet? Ooh. Might have to put it on my to-do list this weekend. Nicholas, have you seen Princess Mononoke? Patrick? I'm sure Courtney has, right? Right? Yeah, ASMR, you could do, the standard divine. You could go a more natural, like elemental route with them. Um, mm, would I have them as a race, as a as a people? Mm, no, no. It would be an ASMR is very much a very chosen, specific people. There'd be more than one, of course, but and I would say, like, if two ASMR met and decided to make a baby, that the baby wouldn't necessarily come out ASMR. Does that make sense? Uh, I mean, it depends on how you would want to do the whole bloodline thing. Because you could have it be while they are being born, and when they are a baby, maybe the gods just, or whoever, bless them, and that is what makes them ASMR. Maybe it is a more bloodline thing, which, if that was the case, then, more than likely the baby would come out ASMR then. But it would, I would say it would get weaker and weaker with each generation. Of course. Hmm. And yeah, you could have light ASMR, dark ASMR, because I mean, gods and celestials doesn't mean good, if that makes sense. They are, yeah, they are the opposite of the tiefling, which is pretty darn cool. So yeah, with that, it didn't really go into what divine features they would get. Um, but I would think they would get like glowing eyes. Um, they would typically be just more beautiful, like smooth skin, that kind of stuff. Mm, and as I said, it would change based on what the heritage was, because you could have, a tabaxi ASMR. It's actually pretty cool. ASMR is just cool. And tieflings, I definitely see why people like those, because you get kind of a background story added into your character already, just based on their bloodline. Ooh, yes, the Aetherborn. Let's see. That's pretty lengthy. And yeah, that is all part of the same thing. We'll just read this first one. So the Aetherborn. When the events of a lifetime are compressed down to almost nothing, each fleeting moment must be savored, drained of every drop of enjoyment it can offer. This is the philosophy that informs the lives and minds of the Aetherborn. Given just a few short years, or sometimes only a few months to live. Dang, only a few months? Oof. Each Aetherborn views time as exceedingly precious. Each moment spent in a way that does not bring delight is a wasted moment. And though Aetherborn differ in their drives and pleasures, nearly all of them share this desire to squeeze the most out of the brief time they are given. Bum bum bum. Okay. Aetherborn are pretty darn cool. So, from their kind of stock image, they have a more human look to them. But I mean, once again, you could make that Aetherborn look however you wanted. You could have them be more spirit-like, but in their image, it's like, you got your dude, but like his skin is cracking. You can see, basically, you can see the magic seeping out of him. Because Aetherborn are just living physical magic. Oh, skillet's done. Back to the kitchen. Who do we want to do next? Let's do Ghost BC. I will always call them Ghost BC. Just Ghost is weird. It's weird, right? Where are your albums, sir? I just want to listen to your music in an album format. Yeah, sure. Was that actually an album? Cool, I did it. I technologied. Okay. So yeah, they're made. Aetherborn are kind of made from magic. Which, oh, you could. That's, yeah. So, one, let's say you have, you're doing your fantasy world thing, you got magic in there. Maybe magic is dying, and, maybe this Aetherborn appears and the higher ups, the officials, whoever, they decipher, like, hey, what if we captured this thing? We could harvest the magic from it. And so then they would, send people out to find more Aetherborn. Or, maybe Aetherborn flesh could, is needed for some kind of ritual or experiment. Let's see. Yeah, you don't live very long, which is crazy. Yeah, nothing else interesting in their build, I guess you could say. It says they're typically like around 6 feet tall, but I mean, you can make them be whatever they want. Ooh, I would say Aetherborn. You could use that as a race, like as a people. I don't know. Like Aarakocra, definitely. There are people that you would find in the world. Asamar, I mean, yeah, depending on the storyline and whatnot, the setting, yeah, you could have Asamar be a people, but I kind of think they're more contextual, if that makes sense. And Aetherborn, they're kind of in the same boat, but since magic is such a prevalent thing, I would think there would be but they don't live very long, so you wouldn't have time to really build an Aetherborn society. You see? Because on one hand, it would be kind of cool to have a Aetherborn society. It's like, not that you couldn't have that, it'd be really hard for them because, like, part of their life would have to be devoted to building the society to then pass on to the next people to add more on. More on. Not more on. But yeah, in a weird way though, I can see Aetherborn being more of a people than Asimar. That's kind of that's weird, right? But I really like that idea of like a town city full of these spirit people. It would be like going to a literal ghost town. Hmm. And yeah, with Aetherborn, you got even, they are spawned from magical events, but that opens up so many possibilities of what that could mean. Maybe someone was concocting some potion and the magical properties of it poofed, Aetherborn. Uh, could even be maybe they were trying to make like a immortality potion, or maybe they were just trying to make a magic potion, like a mana potion, and they drank it and they turned into an Aetherborn. Of course, you can have them spawned just randomly by ambient magic. Maybe there was a big war between like mage societies, and this guy throws a fireball, this guy throws a fireball, when they, and then from that center mass, poop, you get an Aetherborn. Yeah, you got possibilities, man. You got options of where Aetherborn come from. Mm. And yeah, they wouldn't have to be a humanoid thing either. It could be like, it spawned this dog, this wolf that is falling apart because it's made of magic. Man, Aetherborn are cool. You know what? Do I still have that page? Ooh. So, one thing I did, and that I kind of like to do with D&D and 5e and all that, is when I go onto the website, like whenever I was first getting into it, I went on there and I went through every enemy type that they have on the website and was like, okay, this monster, cool, let's add it to this list. Basically, making lists is really fun, and I just had the thought of, maybe I should make a list of the races that just really jump out at you. Because yeah, the Aetherborn, they're cool. Well, we don't need a list of races. All right, up next. Well, is there anything else about Aetherborn? Oh, actually, yeah. So, since they are kind of made from magic, I would say it would be really cool if you limited the player. You could talk it over with them, please. Uh, but maybe they are limited to a specific type of magic. Like, okay, I'm a Aetherborn, but I can only use fire magic. Or, I can't cast like teleportation type magics because of what I am. I wouldn't be able to manifest it, or whatever reason you could think of. Because that would also add some nice little personality things to the Aetherborn. because it would be like you could be an Aetherborn, but maybe there's like in the cracks they could see like lightning and electricity just underneath because maybe that's their element. So in a way, the Aetherborn could be like a variant on Ganassi in a way. Which Ganassi are pretty darn cool because of that concept, but I'll get to them eventually. But yeah, with that, I think that settles what I have on Aetherborn. Yeah. And I'm sure if something pops in like I did with Warforges, I can always just whoop. But up next is the Astral Elf. I don't particularly like the look of the Astral Elves. They just look like elves to me. At least based on the stock images that Wizards has for us. Now their outfits, awesome. Which it's really hard to make an elf not cool because elves just are the superior race because they just look cool in any garb you put them in. Any culture you change them to, elves are just cool. But let's see what astral elves are all about. Long ago, groups of elves ventured from the Feywild to the astral plane to be closer to their gods. Life in the Silver Void has imbued their souls with a spark of divine light. That light manifests as a starry gleam in an astral elf's eyes. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't, I don't know. Like, that doesn't make them sound really neat to me. Of course, they look cool because, as I said, they're elves. But, yeah, so their special thing is they have starry eyeballs. Okay. Let's see, they can be very old. Yeah, because, there's not really time in the astral plane, sort of. Yeah. I'm reading the rest of it, and it's just kind of boring stuff. But it does say that if they don't dwell in the astral plane, they could live more than 750 years, which is pretty standard for an elf, I would say. That 1K mark is generally 1,000 years or so. Oh, that's why the song sounded a bit different. It is a live version. Oh. Well, Astral Elves, what can we do to make you more special? Let's look at your traits. Anything in here that I can kind of work with? Because they're just elves with special eyeballs. Oh my gosh. Dang it, and I just lost the name of it. The Astral Elves, they're the, okay, Naruto, Sasuke, the Uchiha, yes, whew. Astral Elves are the Uchiha clan. They have their special eyes. Or I guess you could also go the Hyuga clan route with Neji. It's Hyuga, right? I like Neji. Didn't at first, but he kind of grew on me. Plus, if you're at like a hand-to-hand fighter person, I generally will fall in love with you. Because like kung fu martial arts stuff is my jam. It is my jelly. Well, they can know cantrip, they get dark vision. Wow, they get dark vision? You mean like everything in D&D? I hate dark vision. I hate it. This is why I have been working on my own game system. It is basically finished. I need to work on the spell list, but also I could just say, yeah, just, look at the D&D spells and pick one and we'll convert it. Because I don't want to do all that work. Who wants to do all that work? That's a lot of work. But yeah, I really dislike when the races have, features that it ruins events. Maybe you want the players to go through a dark, spooky dungeon holding torches so that they can see because it adds to the drama. It adds to the tension. But no, everybody has dark vision. And of course, you can do stuff like, because there's this magical ambiance in the cave, your dark vision doesn't work. But you can only pull that off like 2 times before they're like, okay, Buster, what are you doing here? Or, races that can fly. Flight is just such a broken concept. Or breathing underwater, because maybe you want them to explore some underwater cavern. I digress. That's what we do here. Let's see, they can magically teleport with Starlight Step. Okay, let's think. Astral Elves, you're lame. By elf standards, I should say. Which is kind of weird because, like, a wood elf it's an elf. There's really nothing fancy or special about them. They don't have glowing, starry eyeballs. But yeah, by somehow adding flavor to you, you've become worse. I don't know. I don't make the rules here. I just work here. So, Astral Elves. I would say we're going to take a page out of Twilight. Astral Elves, they have, of course, their fancy, sparkly eyeballs, but as well as their skin is transparent. Is that the word I'm looking for? Not translucent. But their skin is slightly see-through, and it's like, as you gaze upon them, that they glisten like 1,000 stars in the sky. Yeah, maybe with Astral Elves, kind of the top layer of skin would be more transparent, and so you could see kind of like almost like stardust sifting through their bodies. Oh, Well, no wonder that song was 19 minutes long. That's why it felt like it was going on forever. That that makes sense. Why? Why is that song that long? Ooh. Hmm. What else can we do for you, Astral Elves? You got starry eyeballs, starry skin. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, maybe astral elves, their skin color tends to reflect the maybe a star or a planet that they. Well, I guess the whole point is they were in the astral sea, which is a weird place. But maybe their skin color reflects kind of what stars they align themselves with while in the astral sea. So, if there was a red star, maybe this elf has a bit more of a reddish tint to their skin. If it's some kind of purple star, purple. So, yeah, you could get a little Skittles taste the rainbow effect with the astral elves. That would help give them a little bit more personality and uniqueness. Mm. So they did originally come from the Feywild. Feywilds into the astral sea. Hmm. 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 Uno momento, por favor. Come on, brain. There we go. D&D. Tell me about the astral plane. Because there are people that just live all up in there. Mm-hmm. Let's see, the astral plane. What are you? Yeah, like color pools, like the aurora borealis. It really is like you are in a starscape. Yeah, blah blah blah. Oh, sorry. And then, who are the other inhabitants here? Yeah, it was the Githyanki. Astral dreadnoughts. Hmm. So, with the astral plane being this starscape area, I would say the astral elves didn't come from the Feywilds at all. I know it's like, well, you see, that's how people got here. And I'm sure if I read something about the Githyanki, it'd probably say something similar. But the astral plane, it's kind of like the highway, because it mentions that fiends and demons and all that use the astral plane to go from one place to another. So it's almost like a transportation hub. Uh, but like it has living things in it. So who's to say that that the astral elves didn't just spawn from within the astral plane? Uh, since it is also it's like where the gods dwell, but it's not. It's a weird thing. And maybe there was a god that was kind of put in charge of the astral sea essentially, and was like, oh well, I'm gonna need some workers or something, so let me just bump and brewed up some astral elves from stardust and all that. And I was even thinking, like, everything else in the astral sea is pretty weird looking for the most part. Like Githyanki are basically elf goblins. That's kind of how they look to me. Actually, let's take a little brief here. Let's just read up on Githyanki since we're here. Maybe this will help me diagnose astral elves. The story of the Gith is rooted in cosmic fate, whom the race is named. The Gith rose up to overthrow the Mind Flayers. And yeah, like, Mind Flayers are kind of from the astral plane. Can you tell me about, like, the Gith? What are they? Not just their history, please. Blah blah blah. Well, that was not helpful. Let's try this page. Yeah, they were servants of the Mind Flayers. Okay, yeah. A lanky people with skin tones, with psionic abilities. That's... You're not helping me, man. Come on. I need a bit more. Okay, the Gith Sarai migrated to the blah 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 after the blah blah blah. Yeah, blah blah. Huh. Well, this is not helpful at all. But in a weird way, by it not being helpful, it has oddly been helpful. Because then, yeah, you can just make the astral elves be whatever you want them to be then. Since I'm picturing them being from and made out of stardust, the astral sea itself, and the fact that, like, a lot of the things in the astral sea are really alien and weird. I mean, the astral dreadnought is like a giant slug crab thing. I'm thinking these astral elves shouldn't look good. the one rare exception of elves being a bit more grotesque in a way. But what would they look like? Maybe they are more kind of like hunched, kind of like in a way the Falmer from Skyrim. You know what I'm saying? The astral elves would be these almost ghoul elves. Ooh, with like translucent skin where you can see. It's like, and it was like within the being there was a whole galaxy within them themselves. Yeah, I like it. Whew, what time is it? Oh, almost 8. Wow. Yeah, I do like to do like 2 hours typically, because I know this is not the most exciting thing. You see one bald guy talk to you for 2 hours. Like, I don't even put up any funny pictures or anything. That's a lot of crafting right there. And I'm not a crafter. But yeah, we can totally go a bit longer. Yeah, like 40 minutes. That'd put us about 8:30. I did start this bit sooner than I usually do. I usually start at 7, but I got here a little bit faster than I anticipated, but it's all good. So I just started sooner, so I'll end sooner, which will actually be nice. I can go home, chill, relax, pet my puppies. They're cute. Let's see. Anything else about astral elves? I'm not, as I said, I'm not a crafter, so I'm trying to come up with something of a more almost monstrous type of elf, since everything else in the astral sea is quite monstrous. But my brain can't do that. At least not yet. I've been getting better. I actually have been designing in my head what certain characters look like, which is pretty cool for me. But yeah, I think that's it. So next on the list would be auto gnomes, but they're they're just tiny war forges. So I'm gonna skip them. In fact, I know I was gonna do like alphabetical, but since I started at the bottom with war forges, let's just go down there and we can do a little sandwich effect. So down at the bottom of the list, if you were on the website, I have cleared all of the little filters. So it shows you the mostest of the most. And at the very bottom, there's Yuan-Ti and Yuan-Ti Pureblood. I'm going to just put them under the same thing. I'm sure there's a difference. But let me read Yuan-Ti. These are snake people. You can go with different varieties and whatnot. So you could have them, the kind of stock image is a very human person, but they have snake fangs and tongue and eyes. That's pretty much it. Just pretty lame. I like the Yanti where they are literally just snake people. One, because that means it's a beast race, and I just love that. So, the Yanti. The Yanti were originally humans who transformed themselves into serpent folk through ancient rituals. Most Yanti were corrupted into monsters by those rites, but some instead became a new people who mix characteristics of humans and snakes. Another human origin there. Yeah, okay, don't get me wrong. Humans are awesome. We are the best. But in a fantasy setting, why does it always have to be human that starts it? So, right off the bat, I'm thinking, okay, if you want to go with the more like human snake hybrid thing, I mean, just from the picture, well, I guess it looks like there's some scales on there. It really just looks like they're poisoned more than anything else. It could just be the art design. But that's kind of, I don't know. That's kind of weird. I will say, if you wanted to do something like a were snake, then that would be cool. You know, you're a human and then something happens and you transform into almost like the wolf man. Not quite a werewolf, you see, but, you know, a hybrid of the two. I loved and still love the original wolf man. I mean, just how he looked was cool. So just take that and make it snake. Snake? Snake? Snake! You know, I've never played any of those Metal Gear Solid games, but I'm sure they're fun. I saw a YouTube recommended video to me was it was like, could Solid Snake survive Raccoon City? And I was like, yes, of course he could. Yes. Ooh. So Yanti. Okay, to keep with the, if we want to keep the human converted into like full-on snake people, going the ritual route is good. You could work with that. You could even have a quest line or something where, you know, the players are finding or trying to find the reverse ritual of it. You could have it be more like a curse that, you know, maybe to take a page out of the Scorpion King, you know, somebody is in desperate need, pleads to the gods, a god, something answers and says, yes, here's this snake as food, or, you know, to seal the pact, you have to let it, you know, it bites you, and then from that they gain the strength to survive and overcome whatever the ordeal was, but in turn get cursed and changed into blah 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 blah, and you know, maybe it was like a king or something that this happened to, and so then it spreads to just his people, because it's a curse. It's supposed to suck. not just for the person making the deal or being cursed. I mean, yeah, look at Beauty and the Beast. Beast was the a-hole, apparently, and it got his whole castle crew converted into, furniture. So yeah, you could do curse route. I'm definitely thinking if you're gonna use Yuan Ti, go the full-on snake. The snake people. Is there a kind of twist or something I can do with Yuan Ti? Okay, I asked this with the other ones. Can they use magic? Yes. Astral elves? I don't think I covered that one. Yes, they could definitely use magic. I would say the Yuan-Ti are definitely a evil race. They are not good people. And it's okay to have races in your stories and games that are bad people. Actually, I would encourage it because it makes it more real and adds more drama for the characters and whatnot. Um, Snake people. Would I have them come from another plane? No. Unlike the war forges where I could see them coming from like outer space or something. Yeah, the Yuan-Ti. I mean, of course you could do it, but yeah, they're definitely a more natural kind of race. What else did I cover with the other groups that maybe I forgot to do? Can they cast magic? Oh, are they a people? Yes. Yeah, the Yuan-Ti, yeah, they're a people. Whether it is that they are just snake people that just kind of naturally occurred, if it's by curse or something to that effect, that would still work because the curse passed on through the genes and all that. Oh, and look, they have dark vision. Of course they do. Yeah, them having the poison resistance and all that definitely makes sense. It doesn't say how long they age. At least not on that one. Let me check the other. Here we go. This is under the Pure Blood tab, but it's all the same. Purebloods mature at the same rate as humans and have similar lifespans. Okay, yeah, that's understandable. I can get behind that. Just wanted to check to see what they had to make sure, it wasn't something crazy like the Aarakocra that they only live 30 years. Those poor guys. Okay, let's see. You know what? Let's change gears. Because who doesn't like changing gears? Let's look elsewhere. Mass effect races. Because, yeah, races come in all shapes and sizes and forms, whether it be fantasy or sci-fi. And man, did Mass Effect have some pretty darn good races. Like, okay, don't get me wrong. Of course, Star Wars has some really good races. Uh, there's just something about Mass Effects where how do I phrase this? So in Star Wars, it seems like a lot of the species, a lot of the races are humanoid-ish. Um, but in Mass Effect, I mean, there's the Hanar, which are large floating jellyfish people. And that's freaking brilliant. And then, yeah, there's the Elcor, which are like, uh, what would I compare that to? Almost like a big elephant alien people. Oh man, they did so well with them. I love it. So yeah, out of the races in Mass Effect, which one? The Turians are dang cool, man. They are freaking cool. But also the Vorcha. The Vorcha look cool in their crazy barbaric style. The Drell look great with their kind of fishman look. I would not want to be a Volus, though. I want to say the Volus are probably based off of some kind of mole. Because, yeah, they are short, round alien dudes. Mm-hmm. I do like, and this is the thing, is I do like the look of the Turians, but in a way they have kind of this, I don't know, a standard alien look to them. Does that make sense? What do you all think about the Turians or what I just said about them? Because, like, in a way, the Turians feel very Covenant elite to me. I would have to say. The Protheans look really cool too. Oh yeah, forgot that they introduced that race in Andromeda. We don't talk about Andromeda. Yeah, the Protheans, that's a pretty cool look. Because it still has an alien feel to it, but not being so obscurely ugly. I mean, the Asari, they're like the elves of Mass Effect. They're gorgeous. The idea that it is a all female species is pretty cool. Like that's a neat concept to add in. We don't. Yeah, I can't say I learned a lot about the Drell, which is Thrain. Uh, Not Thrain. Thane. Yeah, Thane Krios. Man, that guy was cool. Loved him so much. Um, But yeah, the Drell, they're kind of like a fish man. I mean, yeah, take the, what is that? The creature of the Black Lagoon. Take that, uh, smooth it out a little bit, make it a little bit more sci-fi, and you got the Drill. But how their culture is, I can't really say I remember learning much about them. That's probably more on my part than. Um, if I had to pick a favorite from these, that's kind of tough. Because, like, I do love the Turians because of how they look, but their look is kind of a, I don't know, generic alien guy. Mm, and yeah, even though I like the Protheans and how they look, the really only info we have on them is them during the wartime of them against the Reapers, which isn't a good uh, viewpoint on how their society and whatnot operated at. I'm gonna say out of the Mass Effect races, the Krogan. The Krogan is probably my favorite one because they're like almost like dinosaur reptile people, but their armor is almost like a giant turtle shell on them. And yeah, you learn quite a bit about the Krogans during the games because they were a menace to the galaxy. They got neutered on a galactic scale. They are very much a war based, you know, might is right kind of society. Yeah, I think one of the ways to show respect is you headbutt each other, which was very impressive on Commander Shepard's part. Just gotta say. Ah, Commander Shepard. What a guy. Yeah, man, the Krogan have such a good look. The Quarians, how, uh, like, what do they look like under there? Because the thing with the Quarians is you have this teammate Tally, and she's in a suit the entire time because if not, she'd be dead. Um, but is there like the art of what they actually look like under there? No, I don't want your interpretations. Like, hmm. Well, I'm not sure which one of these are real. I thought it was more something like the really smooth, kind of bald alien look that they had. Hmm. Um. Yeah. On a rating scale of how Mass Effect did with the races, overall, yeah, like 8.5, 9 out of 10. Because just the fact that they have some races in there that are not humanoid. We got 15 minutes. Okay. That's good. That's good. Let's see, Mass Effect. What's something else? Oh yeah. Let's look at Halo's races. Because they got some cool ones. I mean the grunts, gosh, I love the grunts. They're so great and they're so tragic. Those poor little guys. Just from this quick look, because I mean, it's not like I knew a lot about the races of Mass Effect. Um, but yeah, races of Halo, I gotta give them, yeah. I mean, that's a solid 9 out of 10, which is a little weird that I gave it a more solid 9 than Mass Effect, since, I mentioned that Mass Effect had, like, the bestial race people in there. This could also be a bit of nostalgia in there, because, I mean, I existed before Halo existed, and it's been a big part of my life. But yeah, the Sangheili, which are the elites, like they have such a good look. I don't know much about their society or how any of that works. And then, I mean, the brutes are great because they're just big ape people. The San Shayum, which are the prophets. Yeah, love the little wormy like appearance that they have. I would have to say, based on appearance and what I know about them, the jackals might be my favorite one because they have a good raptor like appearance to them, and they're space pirates. Like how, how cool is that? Is that these guys, they're just little space pirates going around raiding ships, all that good stuff. Yeah, the jackals are awesome. Or should I say the Kigyar. I'm learning stuff. See, I never knew they were called the Kigyar. And then there's the freaking freak bags of the hunters. Did you all know this? I didn't learn about this until, what, a year ago? Maybe two? Because I got on this little kick about learning about the lore of the games and stuff that, I loved. Because you only learn so much from the games. But yeah, hunters are like a bunch of worms that work together to form a functioning body, essentially. And that's weird. That was such a freaky revelation. And I think, yeah, that's what they used for the scarabs, because yeah, the worms can like regenerate and whatnot. Ah, how wild to be a organism of a bunch of worms wiggling about, mushed together, and be like, okay, we're lifting the leg, lift. fiction's awesome. Let's see. I'm not familiar with whatever that is. And I'm not going to count the Flood as a race because, I mean, it is, but it's not. It's a parasite. It's freaking cool and terrifying. Oh my gosh, the Flood is a nightmare. And then, yeah, they added in like what the Forerunner looked like. And they have a pretty good look to them. It doesn't blow me away. Oh, wait, is that what they... Oh, yeah, I really hate that one. But how come in that picture it looked a lot different than what that looked like? Yeah, I like the look of that one just a little bit better. So there's one where they are just really smooth, and it's very unsettling. And then this other version I'm getting, it almost is more, almost more like sea folk, like amphibious. Words are hard. Oh man, Halo's cool. If you are a fan of Halo, you should check out our campaign series, Arc Outer Rift. It is a Halo-inspired TTRPG that our Knight Commander Patrick made for us. And when I say he made it for us, he made it. He chose the guns, how much damage they would do, the range of things, how much ammo you had, how grenades worked. Like, he crunched the numbers out on it, and it transferred the feel of a first-person shooter to a tabletop pretty darn good. Yeah. The risk of death was quite high, as it is in as it goes with FPS. Yeah, see, like I almost call it the Prothean. No, the Forerunner. Yeah, like that version of them. It's like I mean, that one's more like a vampire look, which is actually kind of cool compared to the weird smooth skin. Well, what would it is? They never should have showed us what they looked like. No. They should have kept that. Keep this is something I struggle with too. Keep mystery in your story and campaigns. So if you have Warforges, maybe they don't learn where they came from ever. That is, no one will ever know. Maybe you have the players learn multiple accounts of where they came from. Yeah, keep some mystery in there. You don't have to explain everything. And even for your own self, if you want to, come up with, oh, well, maybe this is how they came to be of whatever it is. That's fine. Yeah. But don't include it into the lore, if that makes sense. It's more just a fun for you kind of thing. Yeah, man, Halo just slamming it out of the park with those races in there. we got 5 minutes left. All right, we'll do the closing because it usually takes me about 5 minutes to go through it. First off, thank you for tuning in. If you did, I hope you enjoyed it and maybe got some inspiration from my ramblings. I hope that you were entertained enough. I am very well aware that this is not the most exciting stream. I do a lot of ums. I do. I am a sentence filler. And yeah, I know a lot of the other YouTubers, they put up graphics and do funny little animations. Ugh. That's why I put in the description that it is unscripted because yeah, I just wing it. There are people that like to sit down and plan out, okay, I'm going to talk about Warforges, so let me cover these points and blah blah blah. That why? Just sit down and do it, dude. But what was I saying? Anybody? Right, closing. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, being awesome. Hope it inspired you. Yep, I covered that. Be sure to follow us, like, subscribe, do the social media things you know how to do. If you live in the Clarksville, Louisville, New Albany, what is known as the Kentuckiana area, this Saturday in Clarksville at the Marriott Hotel, I believe it is, there's the Clarksville Comic Con and Toy Show and whatnot. We're going to be there. It's going to be awesome. Come say hi. Check out all the other vendors. Buy some cool stuff. We have started the highly anticipated sequel, Treachery, A Lord's Gambit. And it's really good. It's really good so far. I can't say we've connected with it yet, if that makes sense, and it's really gonna be hard to top Treachery, A Governor's Secret. Because our characters in that one were just so endearing and just so good. Don't get me wrong, our characters in this one are really good too, but it could just be us because you are your own worst critic, and well, you should be. Have standards, please, or we get more stuff like Ironheart and Dragon Age Veilguard. Anywho, I digress. But yeah, check those out. If sci-fi is more your shebang, like I said, we have Arc Outer Rift, a Halo-inspired storyline. We also have a Star Wars duet with our Grand Inquisitor, Courtney, and myself. That one was really good. that one turned out really well, which is really scary for me. But we got that. We got Wicked West. If a Western is more your style, we have a fantasy Western. Or a Western fantasy, however you want to look at it. And that one's been really fun. It's also been really neat doing a fantasy story without magic, which is also kind of difficult for me a little bit because as I'm going through, I'll do something and I'm like, oh, wait, there's no magic. How does this work then? Oh, yeah, that's okay because this, and this. And so I just gotta be a little bit more aware because, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I ingest is fantasy, and fantasy has become synonymous with magic. Wicked West, Treachery. Am I forgetting one? I don't know. But I mean, you should check out our page to find out if I am. And as always, if you are feeling generous, we do have a PayPal. It would be wonderful if you sent us $2 because we fund all of this ourselves. Especially if you go back and start watching Treachery, it was rough. We started out rough, as all YouTubers do. But man, if you've seen our growth, it's been such a change in audio quality, video quality. We've progressed a lot, and you can help with that. Even, I mean, like I said, even if it's like $2, just to get something would be awesome. And if you want something for your something, we have a Redbubble. What's Redbubble, you ask? A mighty fine question. I never heard of it until we started doing this. Redbubble is a site that you can upload images onto, and they will plaster it on just about anything. You can get a picture on a coffee cup, shower curtains, t-shirts, coasters, backpacks. I mean, it is a lot. And for custom-made things, the prices are really good because the quality is insane and it ships pretty darn fast. So check out Redbubble, not even just for us, just check out Redbubble. and if you are an aspiring artist or something, put your stuff up on there. They handle everything. So of course, they're going to take some of the percentage, but it's really not that bad. So yeah, check out Redbubble. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, Apple Podcast, pretty much any social media that exists. We're kind of there. Yeah, I think that there does it. So, once again, thank you for tuning in. Please share, spread the word, spread the love. We want to be a rival to Critical Role. We won't ever be them or topple them because, come on. Have you seen Travis? Oh, wow. I just lost his last name. That's embarrassing. I mean, Travis is amazing. Liam O'Brien is the reason to watch Critical Role. And without further ado, I'll see you next time before I keep rambling on about nonsense and whatnot. Stay safe, stay awesome. And remember that freedom, it always crits. Bye.